Every college student gamer dreams of having the ultimate gaming setup. The problem is, many of them live in small, tiny little spaces where it'd be a struggle to get everything you need to be a top-tier esports athlete. My name is Keo, and I'm here from Cloud9 to find a fix for this problem. So, to build his brand new desk, I've challenged the incredible woodworker and carpenter, Rick, to create the ultimate gaming setup for someone living in student housing. Rick, let's see what you can pull together for Troy Boy.
Thanks, Keo. Challenge accepted. I feel like this is where I'm supposed to be some like Ron Swanson-esque character, but I'm just some guy in his garage. I'm Rick Lefevre from Wood.Work.LIFE, and I've been making wooden PCs on my channel for years now. And I think it'd be great to hook up Troy Boy with an awesome gaming and streaming setup to use in his college housing. A couple of key challenges that we're gonna try to solve here. One of them is going to be zero maintenance. When you're a college kid and you've got your college courses, you don't have any time to deal with draining a water loop. You don't have time, if you're a streamer or a gamer, to deal with any downtime. So we're gonna make this thing air-cooled and sealed and ready to go. Second thing is this thing's gotta be versatile. Sometimes you might want it to be a sit-down desk where you're gonna study and work on your actual assignments instead of gaming and whatever till all hours of the night. So we gotta make this versatile. So I'm gonna make it a sit-stand desk. It also might eventually become part of your decor in a future house. So we've gotta get something that's nice and versatile. So we're gonna make it so that it can hide away or become a standing desk or really whatever it needs to be at the time that you're using it. So I'm happy to take on this challenge for Troy Boy, and we'll see if we can make him the perfect dorm room desk. Let's get K-Razzy with this, huh?
This build started off mostly at my own computer, tinkering around in CAD to figure out all the intricacies of this transformer of a desk. It's always easier to make your mistakes in pixels rather than sawdust. Once I had all the dimensions figured out, I could break down the high-quality Baltic birch plywood for the base of the desk with all the measurements already in hand. The base of the desk was built around a dual-motor motorized sit-stand desk. This would ensure that no matter what Troy had on top of his desk, he would have access to all of the ergonomics of the sit and stand position. I also wanted the front of the desk to have a consistent exposed plywood edge look, so I made some little laminated plywood blocks instead of just using the face of the plywood. This way the front of the desk would have a balance of organic wood grain from the top, as well as seamless industrial modern look of the exposed plywood end grain. Next, it was time to attach the plywood panels to the sides of the shelves and install them onto the electronic sit-stand desk. These shapes had to be precision built, and I didn't count on myself to be perfect, so after assembling the sides, I carefully marked them against the actual mechanism to ensure that everything fit perfectly. Another consideration I made on this build was modularity. The top of the desk and the back panel are attached using machine screws and inset brass threads to ensure that if Choi ever needs to move this thing, it comes apart into smaller and easier to move components. I attached the back panel using steel L brackets so the weight of the whole desk wasn't just being supported by the end grain of the plywood. To add a little bit of that signature Wood.Work.LIFE flair, I used a super unique piece of spalted maple for the desktop. This is actually extra material I had bought when I was making the sliding barn door for my own shop, but it was so beautiful I bought every scrap they had. You never know when you're going to need a truly unique piece of wood. I was also going to step it up even a few more notches by inlaying the top of the desk with some beautiful translucent epoxy that I could shine RGB LEDs through. This is a gaming PC after all. I started by making forms for the epoxy panels out of melamine, then caulked the seams, waxed the surfaces, and applied a release agent to ensure everything would come out smoothly. For this desktop, I poured over 2 gallons of thick-set epoxy into the forms and let them cure for 4 days before taking them out of the forms to give them their final surface finish. Fortunately, I sized the panels so they would fit through my 20-inch planer. I then sanded them up to 400 grit before applying 5 coats of amber halcyon and trimming the panels to their final dimensions. I'm sure at this point you're all wondering how much awesome hardware I was actually able to fit into this desk, and I want to assure you we're hooking Choi up with truly world-class hardware to keep up with his demands as a competitive gamer and a streamer. The system includes an AMD 5900X 12-core, 24-thread processor, as well as an AMD 6800 XT with 32 gigabytes of high-speed memory, powered by a 1200-watt, way overkill power supply, so Choi Boy can game and stream without sacrificing frame rate. There's also tons of extra space inside the desk to fit additional hard drives or other hardware as Kevin matures in his streaming and content creation. With the top dimensions now finalized, I could make the chamber the computer would fit into under the desk. I wanted this to be as thin as possible, so I used a thin Noctua CPU cooler and a 90mm ribbon cable for the GPU, so everything could fit into a 3.5-inch thick chamber and still have plenty of room for air circulation. I also cut vents into the sides of the chamber and fit 4 80mm fans to exhaust hot air and bring in cool air for the air-cooled system. More fans could always be brought in if you want to do some heavier overclocking, but the system stayed well under throttle limits in testing I did before shipping the system to Choi. Once the computer was installed, came the most nerve-wracking part of this build. I cut out a window in the top of the desk for a panel of laminated glass to see all that PC awesomeness through this beautiful desk. After all the time I put into the desk and the epoxy top, this almost did me in. With everything now complete, I buffed everything up, did some cable management, and buttoned everything up to get ready for shipping off to Choi.
This project was a lot more than I anticipated, and there were so many little fine details to get it all finished, but now that I've got everything all put together, I'm so happy with the way it turned out. I can't wait for Choi Boy to see how this thing turned out. And Keo, I hope this lives up to what you expected me to build. Choi Boy, enjoy this computer, and I hope this fits all of your needs and makes for a perfect streaming setup for your dorm room. And feel free to hit me up someday when you're a professional gamer, and let me know if you need anything else.